Thanks for joining us today and sharing your story about how you got into small group training and a little bit about your history in terms of the fitness industry. Can you just give us a bit of a background, I guess, how you started in the fitness industry and then your journey to, I guess, where you got to the point where you started your first gym, upgraded to a second gym, and then progressed to be able to sell that down the track. So would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack in that, but thanks for having me. I'm glad to be able to share the story and to be a part of, I guess, this journey for not only myself, but I guess the industry as well. I mean, I've been involved for, running my own business for 12 plus years now, but it started much younger than that with just a family that was involved in sport. A dad being a strength and conditioning coach, a trainer, a masseuse. So from a young age, it was very much, I guess, instilled in me to be involved and a part of it. So it was a natural progression following high school to endeavour on a journey that took me, 12 hours away from where I grew up. And that was the start of something that was much bigger than me, but also the start of and meeting new people, networking, and pretty much a whole new life and a business that I began to build, be proud of, and just have the drive for it to be something that grew and had more impact, not just on myself, but people in the community, nationally and worldwide. It was a step-by-step journey. It was an approach that wasn't just one thing that I could pinpoint it to, because each step evolved and opened up a new chapter and a new part of what became what I can now talk about and share. But it was just, I talk about it being the business being the vehicle that allowed me to realise so much more in this industry. But yeah, man, I'm happy and I'm excited to be here and to chat to you about it too.
Yeah, awesome. So I guess then, how did you start your business then? So it had always been something that you were interested in. Where did you start? How did you start? What was your business set up like?
Yeah. So following the tail end, so I moved away when I was about 19 and got straight into uni for a few years and a bit of practical in that. So within that time, I started to work alongside under other, I guess, businesses, some boutique gyms, commercial gyms, starting to get a feel of what was around in the area that I was residing. But it gave me also insight into what I liked and what I would also change if I was to embark on something on my own. I always had the drive. I wanted something that I could create. I wanted something that was mine, that I could set up and push and make everything from the environment to the music to the feeling to what we did to how we greeted our clients to how the sessions ran, everything to be the way that we designed it and the way that was unique and it was our own. But it wasn't that always from the start. I mean, the honest truth is, I said I've been in the industry for 12 plus years. The first 4 or 5 of that were part of, maybe a sole trader underneath people, working alongside other coaches, helping other teams and being a part of, being involved in sport. I would just offer my help if they ever needed. And that unraveled and allowed me to realise so much more, but it also gave me the feedback into what I wanted to create. So I hear a lot of coaches saying to spend the first years in commercial gyms, and I guess there's part of that I agree. There's part of that has so much value. while I was going through the commercial gym setting and scenario and helping manage and open them, doing some training and combining it all. But it taught me communication, different personalities, how to approach people, how to listen. It taught me so much more that I didn't realize it would at the time. And that was a stepping stone that allowed me to go to my first place, which was huge, leaving a commercial setting with close to 1,000 members walking in the door, and then going to a place that was small, hot, low. The carpet was, it was old. It was an old place. It's something that, that as I said, I'm so glad that I pulled the trigger because that was the start of the next step that kind of opened up everything else.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. Like, I find that's very much, I guess, the journey of the majority of personal trainers that come into the fitness industry. They tend to start in a gym environment. They have those obstacles that they need to overcome. They have that as that kind of their apprenticeship phase, which is awesome. But then a lot of people either just only do that. They don't take it to the next level. They don't move into their own space. And then they don't necessarily look for ways to be able to increase their impact, but then also like their business as well. So I remember when last time I heard you speak, you talked about, like, I guess your charge out rate when you first started, and then I guess the transition to having your own facility and the journey of that process as well, because that's something that I find a lot of trainers, I guess, struggle with. Anytime they're looking at changing their prices, they come up with a barrier. And I guess the transition from doing like one-on-one sessions to creating a gym where you're doing small group-based services.
The barrier, I mean, the blocks and obstacles that we as, I guess, trainers and starting an industry, and it doesn't matter at any age, you're going to put up these blocks to things that we feel sometimes, I guess, we're only putting them up ourselves. So the whole element of with my, I guess, charge out rate and what I was valuing myself at, that's, I talk to a lot of trainers about the fact of respecting ourselves and respecting what we do as valuable. And as a career, this was never a hobby for me. This was my life. This was my lifestyle. This was what I wanted to create. So for me, I was never satisfied at just being okay and then going, you know what? I feel that I know it all, because that was never the truth. So it finishes. A lot of cancelled clients. I went back through one of my diaries that had a lot of crosses all over it, and but that was what I was running. I didn't respect that I was running a business. I didn't value it to its extent. I didn't value myself, and that was reflective of my charge out rate. I mean, I did a lot of 30-minute sessions starting out, and that. My charge out rate initially, I started with around $25 to $27.50 a session, and they were for some 4:30 a.m. sessions, and then finishing 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, working long weeks, managing, helping, cleaning, and then interacting to not feel like I was very rewarded for what I did. But as I started to respect that I was running a business, I felt I respect myself. I dressed, I talked, I communicated. Everything I did was then reflective of that, of what I needed it to be able to then others to respect me. And my client to see the value in what I had to. I can easily communicate. I can talk to people. But that doesn't mean that just because I'm talking to them that they will, they understand what I'm putting across. If I can communicate, and now I've been able to connect those two, the personality that I have and being able to communicate with then being able to understand people, understand their personalities, and then go, you know what? I know that in every part of what I have to offer and what we had to offer, we can help people. So it wasn't a matter of me or us thinking or hoping. It just comes from a point of they could sense our passion and also our understanding in helping others and then knowing what we were able to offer and provide. But that all started when I truly recognised that I was running a business. It wasn't just something, it wasn't a hobby. It was something that I needed to flick the switch and say, hang on, this is my career, this is my life. If I want it to be much bigger, more clients, more understanding, people to respect and see what I had to offer, that first came with me.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100% agree with that. It's just making that decision to jump in to, I guess, get to the point where you decide that it is a business and it is going to be what your life is going to be about. Because the majority of people who come into the fitness industry, they're like, I'm transitioning into the industry, but they don't make that full transition. They haven't burnt the bridges where they're like, right, I'm all in on being a personal trainer, being in business as well. If they make that jump, then they basically, as I said, just burn all the bridges so that they have to make it successful and they have to do everything they need to do to be able to build their business. And then it comes back to that mindset of, well, Liz, I'm in business first before I'm a personal trainer or a coach, because otherwise I don't have any clients. Then I'm not really going to be able to be a personal trainer or a coach. I have to work on the skills to be able to get clients, to be able to develop relationships with people so that I can physically train them, get the outcomes they're looking at achieving. And that comes with being in business first. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And if people understand, that's where it can start. And it was, for me, it was sink or swim. I went all in every part of what I know to be all in. That's where I was. And I was there when I truly recognized that. And I said that to my partner back then and now wife, I knew so much what I wanted and so badly how much I wanted it that nothing that stood in front of me stopped me from moving forward. Now, absolutely there were times of wanting to, like, I often talk about it, why am I doing it? Why does it have to be like this? Surely there's another way. But that was the journey. I had to go on that. I had to fully immerse myself and go all in to then fully come to these barriers and blocks that allowed me to then go, cool, this is presenting itself because I need to work on me. I need to work on my communication or understanding or sales or program design or whatever it may be. We're presented with these blocks as a way to grow. And I guess these challenges are always opportunities to grow. And when I began to see and fully talk about it being what I was and what I was about, and then it was representative in who I talked to on social media, in everything, then that was, it became a culture, a movement and a family that wasn't just me. People were connected to the story. People were connected to the beginnings. And it's funny, we had, as I said, we moved three times. So from the commercial gym to our first small space, to our second space, and then the third space that we're in. So we still had clients that were talking about our first place like 5, 6, 7 years on and how good it was.
Yeah.
And it was the smallest, most terrible of all the places.
Yeah.
But we made it the feeling at the time as our strengths. So I told people, and I was up front, that we aren't the boutique gym, that we aren't the shiny equipment, that we were there for them in a way that was providing an experience that they hadn't had before. And that was how we separated ourselves from, in a small vicinity, there was many commercial gyms with TAFEs and universities close by, heaps of trainers, heaps of businesses. We had to be different, and what I wanted to create was different than what I knew existed where I was, but also what I knew existed in Australia.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Can you tell me a little bit about that again, and the differences and what you created then?
I mean, we initially, as I said, when I said that I didn't start with much. And that was the honest truth. When I was with a commercial gym, I had a lot of stuff that I'd collected that I used in my garage at home. So I guess the garage was the start of me building, I guess, my equipment and my understanding of what I wanted to move into. So when we shifted into the first place, we just brought a bit of the stuff across. But the honest truth is we didn't have what people would think you should have when you start a premises, when you go out on your own. We made our medicine balls. I dragged sandbags across from the beach with duct tape, because that was what we made 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 kilo sandbags that we used to hug, and that was what we had to create. But the thing was that added this special, I guess, connection that people had to what we did, because they were a part of that. They saw what I went through, and you hear more and more people talk about, I guess, our story and getting people to connect both sides of the ups and the downs and the challenges, but also with regards to painting and making equipment or these things. We made our clients want to be a part of that. So they helped us, which gave them this connection that they had to our journey and our movement, that they held on to that for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, however long we had clients for. So we had to create not just a place, but a feeling and an experience for people to be a part of every day. And it was our commitment to deliver a level of service that was over and above what we knew to be true, even if we did not feel that it represented what we wanted to be.
Yeah, 100%. I find that, like, most people who have the goal of looking at starting their own place have that mindset of like, well, I need to get it to a point where it would be the same experience that people would have in a commercial gym, when that's just like an inaccurate frame of reference. You don't necessarily need all the shiny equipment, and you're a testament to that. You're creating your own equipment, and then that creates more culture within your gym as well, because it highlights, I guess, to the members that you want to help them get the best results possible. And it's not going to be like perfectly shiny stuff, because it doesn't necessarily matter. And then I guess then, can you talk about then your journey from like moving, and I guess how your members, I just remember you telling like a story, like your members wouldn't even use the whole gym when you started to get a bigger space. Can you talk about that?
Well, I guess that's exactly what happened, actually. Because I had this vision, I knew that going into the first place, I knew that it was just a stepping stone. But the funny thing was, at that time, I would have said to you or anyone that I wanted that end step, because I wanted it so bad. But looking back, I now respect that I needed to do these steps to move to the next, because otherwise, if I had grown or understood what I truly wanted, I wouldn't have been ready at that point. So it was a journey but as we went through, I wanted the space, and I could vision what it is that I wanted, and it was the smell and the lights and the music and the people and the culture, the sessions flowing, and I could understand and feel it. But what was representative of either I was at a commercial gym, I was doing the first space. So when we went to the second space, I took the leap, and we invested in much more area. And then we set up our areas, which took us, at that point we had more space than we needed and not enough equipment to fill it. So our clients, that's when we went into the first place, and then onwards was the evolution of, I guess, our semi-private model and how it developed. So when we had multiple clients in the session, because they had made such a family vibe and an understanding of each other, they stayed together. When they used of this, often they kind of mention to us, and it's when I realized physical location, it was never the equipment that people were connected to. It was what we were providing them, irrelevant of where we were. But you're spot on, man. They did. They stayed in. I'm talking like it was the area they used was the size of, I guess, 3 black mats next side by side to each other, and they had hundreds of meters of space. They felt when they became used to what we had early on, but because I had this vision, I had to keep on getting them accustomed and used to what my vision was. So they were sharing in this journey of our business and of the people that we had and on the coaches that we were bringing in. So I had to continually, I guess I always talk about educating our clients or educating and showing them what it is that who we are and being transparent. So I was often open about what we wanted and what we wanted to create, but that just allowed them, there was always change with everything that we did. And as you talked about, putting the prices up, there's the fear of change and the fear of what people will say and will they leave. Going to the new spaces or going to my first space, I had multiple clients within the commercial gym. Going to the first place, I didn't have this steady walking of clients, and I lost a few get transitioning. So we had to build it up and then build that, I guess, culture and vibe that we wanted to continue on, that was ours, and then bring our clients in so we continue to share in that vision as we developed over the years.
Yeah, awesome. I guess then, like, you talk about culture and vibe. How do you think is the best way to create that if you're looking at yourself in your own space or you're even just in a commercial gym?
People to be part of. I guess people that meet me in person and they meet me, they understand who I'm about. I don't hide anything, and I try my best to be open and honest about the journey that we go on as driven individuals that want something better, irrelevant of what that is. So the culture and the business we're around always will come back to our, I guess, core values and what we want it to be representative in every way forward. So our personality and the model, the type of business that we run or that you run or that anyone runs needs to be representative and reflective of what it is that is them, that what they enjoy to be a part of. Once we started to transition through to the semi-private, we loved. Sorry, just plug this in. We loved the model that we ran.
Yeah.
And when we truly respected and loved the model, we wanted to be part of it, and it just showed in every element of what we did, from greeting a client to us being enthusiastic to helping them to, I guess, taking the guesswork out of it for them. But as I always talk about, the experience, it was a feeling that we wanted to create. And I've walked into so many and talked to so many trainers and walked into their businesses. And instantly you get a feeling, you get a vibe, there's times when you walk into a commercial gym or into a setting and you feel a part of it. There's other times you walk in and you feel completely disconnected. That happens in our industry as well. And I feel that sometimes trying to and fitness professionals themselves have a disconnect to the business that they think they want to run, to then be able to I guess, for it to be and shine through and reflective in their business.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. In terms of, like, one of the other common things that I hear from personal trainers is like, I like the idea of small group training and I'd love to transition. However, I don't think I can give the level of service that I could give in a one-on-one situation. What do you say to people when they ask you about that?
We get a lot of questions as to how we did it, and we often invited a lot of other coaches and trainers in to show them what we did. Because I guess I was a big proponent of, if I was able to show a client or someone what it is and how it worked and what it is, they will get an experience of it from the moment they walked in. So we were always so sure and believed so much in what we had to do, what we had to offer, that it came through in every way that we talked to them. So the sales meetings, people ask how we differentiate between one-on-one and semi-private. We didn't. We put forward to them what we had so much value in, and it didn't matter whether that was a one-on-one or a semi-private, or if someone's running a group model, a bigger group model. The belief in what you have to offer someone should shine through, irrelevant of what it is. Semi-private, I mean, we loved it and everything about it, and we, over the years, were able to fine-tune and refine the process and systems that we use. So clients were getting results, they were getting better results, they were feeling and they were a part of it. But the honest truth is, semi-private and the model isn't for everyone, but it doesn't need to be. It's people, once they decide what model it is, and if it is one-on-one or they like just to go to two-on-one, that's fine. But you have to be so sure in what it is that you're doing and running that comes through. If there's any fear or doubt when you're talking to a client or when you're talking to someone about what you do, they sense that. They understand and they feel that there's possibly uncertainty. We were so sure that what we had to offer was able to deliver them what they needed, that there was just no other option. There was no second guess in our mind that what we had was anything better or anything less than the best. So because we believed that, and that shone through, even when we knew we continually had to learn and grow and understand, we still believed in it. And right from the start, from the first client you have, you can do that. You can help them because they need guidance. People, they're begging to be led. And when you understand that and you're able to communicate with them, but really show them the value of what it is that you have to offer, it doesn't matter the type in a way. So the semi-private, or I guess delivering, I started my whole business, my entire business was one-on-one. Everything to do with it was one-on-one. When I transitioned and handed the business over, the sole business was semi-private. Everything to do with what we did was built around that model. And once the transition, and then communicating with them and really sharing with them why we were doing what we were doing, why we were transitioning or adapting. And of course there's blocks put up, but then it always came back on us to be able to emphasize and show them why we were doing it. Because if we didn't believe it, it wouldn't have been successful.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I find that's the thing, like it comes down to the belief in the product. And I guess the thing is, when people are thinking about transitioning, they think about like going from having a business that is like, as you said, like completely small group training without that transition phase that they need to work through to be able to do that, and the importance of then determining how many people that they can work with. Like if you're going from like one-on-one, it might not be optimal to go from one-on-one to like a group of 30, because then you can't facilitate them at the same kind of level. But if you went to say one-on-one to 1 to 4, you can still give them a high level of service, and then they're most likely going to be able to train with you more regularly than they would if they were just getting like a one-on-one session or 2 one-on-one sessions or something. Do you find that as well?
Absolutely. And one thing that we found with the transition was that our clients, our average client spend increased, the frequency they were training increased, Therefore, the results, their buy-in, their commitment, everything about what we did was a positive outcome, but only because we made it like that. So we were one-on-one. We knew that, I guess at the time of my initial transition, there wasn't a lot of businesses that I knew that were really, I guess, really mastering or utilising it as their sole model. And if there was, and some would go as high, I guess they class their semi-private model as up to, I guess, 10 to 12 on one. And then, but from my standpoint, starting from the one-on-one, I was like, I needed to understand what I was comfortable with, what allowed me to give the level of service and commitment to my clients that I knew that they needed, and then match the model to that. So we experienced it over a period of years. It was we went as high. We went up to 1 to 6. We went to and tested the waters a bit high. But what we found was we capped ours at a 5 to 1, and found that allowed us to deliver a level of service that was true to us, true to our values, and that people got what they needed every single time. But that took time, and we didn't go from 30-minute one-on-one sessions to then 60-minute, 90-minute sessions with 5 in there. It took time to make this transition for us as business owners and coaches to master it, but then for our clients to be well accustomed to it as well.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I think that's an important process of understanding that it's more about just getting into the process and then testing and changing as you go along, rather than thinking about, all right, I'm here, I'm doing one-on-one, I want to have the goal of working with 5 people at a time for an hour at a time. There needs to be that transition phase where we're like, all right, cool, this is where I'm at the moment. I could potentially get to that point. I'm going to transition to doing group sessions, which are 45 minutes, which are working with 3 people, and then we can test the waters to see if we can go higher. And then in your brain, what you believe is going to be the best way to be able to service your clients, to be able to get the best results possible. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. The transition ought to be as smooth as possible, but the truth is it won't be. The truth is that you're going to realise you're going to finish the session, and you're going to honestly say to yourself, that didn't go as well as planned. That will happen consistently as you refine what you do. But this is why, and this is where I didn't have people to ask how they were doing, or what systems they were using, or how they introduce new clients. Do they mix? Do they have different client goals, client types? How many they were having, client to coach ratio, the investment levels, the programs they offered. I didn't have anyone to necessarily ask that, so I had to put myself with, I guess, people that could guide me and help me. But then it was still up to me to develop this system and this model that was truly ours for our business and our understanding of providing a level of service. But over the time, what I realised is that a lot of other coaches and clients, they attempted and tried to bring in different models, and for some reason they would have they came to a block or a hurdle or a challenge, and they themselves weren't too sure on how to move through. That's the journey that we go on, and I can now, I guess, reflect and be able to help people with those barriers and blocks, because they do happen. That's the truth. The transition, we made it as personal as we could. So in everything that we did, if we were ever increasing our level, that was understanding to them, and that often meant that we talked to them and we met with them and we truly uncovered I guess, their blocks around things. So we always, because that was our business was built on, I guess, the human touch. It was the care that we genuinely had for people every single day to help them, irrelevant of what we were, what model or what equipment or what place that we had. So if we were to always make it a personal, make it a connection that they understood, they were always open and honest back to us, and that gave us feedback in how to make what we did better.
Yeah, awesome. I guess you've talked about systems quite a bit. I guess then how important is having different systems in your business in terms of the small group training model, in terms of things that you talked about, in terms of like the client to trainer ratio, I guess the format of the sessions and all of these things? How important are those systems?
You know what? I got to a point where I truly understood the value of documenting and recording every single element of things that we did within our business. So that's then developed into everything from our dress code to our coach's code of conduct, how we, our voicemails, how we greeted clients, how we introduced new clients, I guess, general templates for introducing a session that was already per session. So we would have, within our business, we had a few different markets or target niches that we worked with, but even within those, they would still be coached in a similar session. So same session time. Everything about what they did was individual to them, from the way we motivated them, to their programs, to their warm-ups, to everything that they did was still the approach. So that's why I often, and I'll explain the semi-private model, or I guess the true semi-private model, as one-on-one in a small group setting. And that's the easiest way to put it across to people. So we did document everything we did. So our whole business was systemized. And I guess that was the only way that I was able to sell the business as well. So from introducing clients and, as I said, how we talked, our language, personality types, what we did throughout the session, after the session, in between client sessions on social media, overview of warm-up, or I guess the outcomes that we wanted, whether it be a new client, so we had all this documented. So every person we brought in, and every coach or intern or someone that was just, they knew that they could see and they understood what was happening.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's massively important. A lot of people like,
from the outside in, looking at a session, if you've got two or three
dropping out there a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
So I was just going to say, what I find is, like, a lot of people want to get to the point where, like, the dream is, like, build the business up, and then eventually, if you get to the point where you want to sell it, you want to be able to do that, but they don't have the mindset of creating all of those systems, or they see it as just a massive barrier that they have to go through all of these things. When in reality, all it is just putting everything that you already do to provide the highest level of service to those people on paper, so that you can replicate it, so that every single person gets the same level of service at that high standard. So then it's not necessarily just about you. Is that what you find as well?
Yeah, and it is. It is exactly. It is what is in your head that is then being documented into something that is being able to be replicated every day, and to, as you said, the highest level of standard that I wanted, or that any trainer wants within their business. And that having those systems, and as I said, that comes down to dress code and punctuality, and designing programs and templates to use, and everything that was in my head needed to come out. It needed to be extracted. And once I understood that I needed to, myself and my wife, we started to document everything. And that was the finances, and that was logging in, that was logging details, that was opening, closing procedures. This is everything that we have, I guess, over time it built into our operations manual. And it was just it was just a collection of what made our business what it was, what the feeling of it, the vibe, how we coached, and what people would see from the outside in, and then from the background and all the work, I guess, the glue that held everything together. If we brought in a intern or someone doing placement hours, we had a specific shadowing folder. So our shadow folder came into what we expect of our shadowers, what we expect of the coach that's running through that intern, how we structure the first few sessions, what they do, how hands-on, what they talk, what the clients expect of them. This is all stuff that we do, or that any trainer watching, that you do every day. Everything that you do 100% is built on a system, and you do that, and you over time refine that and replicate that, because it then gives you an outcome that you want. And if we get it out of our head and we make sure that we're able to understand what it is that provides that, once that is, again, all comes back to the values and the core values of the business, but then that allows you to have a business and a systemized business that runs like clockwork and very smoothly, and you can refine as you go along.
Yeah, awesome. I guess then, like the first place, and then being able to create systems, you kind of touched on it a little bit in terms of how would you build a team? Is it that you are looking at people who are shadowing as potential team members? How would you grow your team around you so it's not necessarily all about you? Because most personal trainers, they get to the point where they either start their own gym, and they still all get to the point where they've got a team that's working with them, and then like step one is create the system so that they can follow it. But how do you find those people that are going to be a fit for your business then?
Well, I guess the simple approach is we were always hiring. We weren't always bringing people in, but we were always looking for people that could match and complement what we had to offer. So it was still a period of time before I even brought in my first coach. But over those years, I was formulating in my head the type of people, the feeling, the vibe of what I wanted to bring on, or for it to continue on. So I was always in the position where I was understanding people, learning about what they did. And I was on a call to another coach yesterday, and I said to him, I never cared what they knew about squatting, warming up, how much they knew about what parameters and how well they could design a periodized plan. I didn't care one bit. Every single element of what we did to bring in was based on personality and their desire to want to be a part of something that was bigger than themselves. So sharing that vision. So it was never, I guess a lot of trainers, if they even watch this, or they've gone for jobs in the past, they might feel that they would knock back their ability or their, when I'm looking for someone. So I was always, always scouting, or always keeping an eye on to, competition in the area, what the universities were doing. We were, the local university would recommend us as a business if someone wanted to understand, strength and conditioning, sports performance, or how to work with clients or working with clients in a semi-private setting. So they would recommend us. We didn't always take everyone on because we couldn't. But the people that we did went through this journey themselves. That not only did they become better coaches, but they respected themselves as better coaches, but others saw them, I guess, as an authority because it was their personality and the way they approached them turning up in every day, not just what they knew.
Yeah, 100%. I had a similar conversation yesterday as well. It's like you can write up the best program for someone, but if that person isn't going to go through that program and follow it to like the letter, it doesn't necessarily matter if it is perfectly set up for them. And that's like the art of coaching. It's like we want them to be able to like get the result by physically and having the best planned outcome. And then more on your point, it's like if you have the focus of like you're continuously like potentially recruiting for your business, looking for new clients as a one-on-one trainer or something, then you're going to have that constant stream coming in. It's not like I'm going to go for a burst because I'm a member. It's just something that's going the entire time to be able to find the best people so that you're not making an emotional decision when you lose a staff member. You've got all of these people basically in a hopper that you can choose from to be able to have the best person to be able to come in for that position rather than just throwing an ad up on Seek. Do you find that?
Yeah, and a lot of business owners, they'll hire and aim to hire very irrationally and very quickly because they get to a point where they might be feeling burnt out or doing too many sessions or not having enough of the ability of being able to provide the service that they want. So then they hire rationally and hire fast. And if at that point, if any business owner gets to a point where they feel that they might want to expand or that's part of their plan, and they can envision, they see that this is where they're moving to, they're able to bring people in or even begin that process. So I guess forever hiring is a good way to think of it because if you learn and understand people and what's around and people and clients or people around that match your personality, this is how it grows and evolves. And a lot of some of our coaches came through as our interns. Some didn't. And then I guess even people that came into the business after years and learning and that, they were a part of what we did. So they learn our systems and our models and how we approach business. So for us to see a potential trainer that understood and expand and grow.
Yeah, cool. So you do a lot of work with a lot of PTs who are looking at transitioning. What is to like small group training and things of that nature, the most common obstacle that people have in wanting to transition?
I think a lot of questions I get regarding they feel that it's, as we've talked about, a drop in their level of service, or they feel that they're automatically decreasing the value of what they have to offer someone. And I do genuinely believe that comes back to them not valuing the model or not truly understanding the model of or what the product that they're delivering. If at any point you sit down and you're trying to sell something that you don't believe in, that's hard. That is genuinely hard to put across. It becomes a challenge, and we ourselves put up those blocks before the clients put them up. We go into the meetings or go into them or thinking why, or maybe they won't sign, maybe they'll want to do one-on-one, or maybe they won't do this, or maybe they want something different. So the block often comes from, I tried to do a couple of sessions and the clients didn't like it. Or I presented the semi-private model, but I didn't feel that, I felt that they wanted more of a personal attention. The thing is, once we believed that was us, that was our business, and for people to be a part of that, we knew and we could guarantee that they were going to get something that we truly believed in, but it just came through because they could sense our passion and our understanding. And then when they matched it with the, the experience that they got, they understood what we were talking about, but they understood what we meant by them being a part of our culture and our family and our vibe, versus me saying, we private as well. So maybe you might be suited to this kind of model, and straight off the bat, they're lost and confused as to what it is. So understanding the client, then relaying back to them what it is that they want, and then providing a solution to them. The solution is what we have to offer. If it's the semi-private model, just believe in what it is that you have to provide them. And if we don't, then it'll a jump up in investment from big group training, but they still weren't getting the personal attention. They absolutely can get from the one-on-one to the semi-private, even how you run, I guess, bigger group training, it can still be reflective of the values that you want to pass on and you want the business to be built on.
Yeah, cool, 100%. I guess, like, in terms of that, I think it's when people have that barrier of going to one-on-one, it's also, I guess, important for people to, I guess, change their pricing structure in terms of that. If I'm talking to someone about transitioning to small group training to one-on-one, I guess highlight the importance of positioning one-on-one as a premium service, and then I guess small group training is the option that is what most people go for, and it's the most affordable comparative to having the premium service so much higher, because it's a higher level of service to be able to get them results, and then the price should match that. Do you find that at all as well?
Well, once we, I guess, over the final few years of what we offered, we didn't, one-on-one wasn't really a level of service that we offered. Not that we didn't value it, but knowing what model, I guess, the semi-private, that was what we offered. So we then built programs within that. But you're right in saying that you've got to have an understanding of where the client is at and the type of models that match the client and or the top, because not every single person needs the same. But as you said, if the client will be very confused if what we're providing and we're putting forward, they don't understand the difference, because no one knows. I mean, a client that comes to us, they're not going to know the semi-private model and groups and this and that and the type of they don't know. So it's our job to educate them and go, you know what, based on what you said, this is what I guarantee will be the next best step for you forward, and this is why. And when you have the different types of models within your business, if you kind of do a bit of a hybrid where you are offering different services, as you said, one-on-one, maybe some semi-private, and then maybe as a different model, you might run 1 or 2 group sessions. Very quickly within talking to people or understanding them, you should be able to be formulating ideas in your head about the best model that will match them. And then you're talking to them with the most confidence that what you've chosen is relevant to them, and they understand that because of what you've chosen. And really, they come to us because we're the professionals. They come and see us because they need the guidance and assistance. And if we can be confident in everything what we have, irrelevant of what type of model, I mean, that's paramount.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Thanks for taking time out of your day to share with us like your story of your transitioning from, I guess, your journey throughout the fitness industry. It's always good to connect with people who've done successfully and have a passion for helping other people within the fitness industry. So thanks for taking your time out of your day. I understand that you've got some events that are actually coming up that you're going to be doing around Australia. Can you tell us a little bit about those if people want to find out a little bit more about you and then be able to come along to one of those events?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy to, obviously, with your permission, we can link or show people where. But I'll be running, I guess, interacting with other trainers and giving them or bridging the gap between where they are and where they want to be is something that I'm passionate about. And that is obviously, I guess, the systems and element of that, but also the technical. So rounding out, I guess, the rest of this year, I'll be running a lot of hands-on workshops and seminars for other fitness professionals, strength and conditioning coaches, people that are just starting, and people that have been in the industry for years. Because what it does, it allows us to interact with them on a personal level, but really show them, I guess, both sides of what is a personal industry, but also with the technical element of what it is. So I've got 2 workshops that we're running in New South Wales, one obviously this weekend, but then in Brisbane, end of September, Sydney in November, and then up into the sunny coast in December as well. But progressing and developing the industry like you, Cody, I mean, it's something that I enjoy, but I have a massive connection because I have been there and I've done that, and I needed the help at certain times but didn't know where to turn. So I want to provide that level of understanding and education that allows people to be a part of, that they can see both sides of starting a business, understanding coaching, clients, communication, and how it all goes together, and I guess in this overarching philosophy of what people want and what they want to deliver. So yeah, we can, I guess, interact and show others the benefit in doing so, but also these events that can take them to the next level in their own careers.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that. And then I guess where's the best place for people to be able to get in contact with you? Do you have is it your Facebook page, email, Instagram? Where's the best place for people to get in contact with you?
Yeah, I can email. I'll put some under our talk today. Website and Facebook, and I've got just like yourself, got a few groups that we interact with, and I guess that just allows us to keep people updated and communicate with them on a personal and professional level. So Facebook, Instagram, and also website is where I primarily use, but I can drop those details below as well for you and for anyone watching.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for connecting with people with your level of success and be able to pick their brain. So thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Cody. Cheers, mate.